go into my opening statement, Director Thompson, I want to just say thank you to you and your team who not only made a special effort to come to my district with regards to some of the on-site testing. It was very illuminating, and I just want to say thank you for making this special effort to help me understand that process. So kudos to you and your staff for, in a very busy time, for making the time to help us be better informed. The 2020 census will be unlike any others in the 220-plus years since the first census happened in 1790. And for the first time, the Census Bureau will be using technology ranging from mobile devices to internet self-response to carry out one of the most important tasks for the federal government, counting the people of this great nation. The use of this new technology and modernization has the potential to create tremendous cost savings for the American taxpayer. Along with this great promise, however, the Bureau's effort also can carry significant risk. For example, if the testing and delivery schedules are not met or strictly adhered to, instead of the cost savings, there could be cost overruns. We've seen that in previous census, so this is not our first rodeo as we look at this. In prior hearings and actually in prior meetings that we've had, the committee has identified a number of areas where the Bureau is at risk of cost and schedule overruns, perhaps incomplete census data, and information security breaches or the potential for that. The time is running out to address those. I think we all realize that we're on a critical time mission, and again, want to acknowledge the fact that as we have come together seeing those issues, it is critically important that we keep all hands on deck. I believe that even though we may have a difference of opinions in terms of the severity of the challenges that face us, that we're committed to do that. And I want to acknowledge that the last meeting that we had here, which was not a public hearing, where many of you here, we had frank discussions and concerns, and yet at the same time, I think we're able to go apart to say that we're committed to making this thing happen, and I'm optimistic that we will be able to do that. But only by correcting some of the issues that we have will we be able to make sure that the new administration and the 2020 census will be placed in a scenario for success. Decisions that we're making now, quite frankly, will have an impact for the next 4 years, and so it is critically important that we make good decisions as we start to implement a number of these areas. I have some serious concerns, as Director Thompson knows, with the Bureau's contracting schedule for the 2020 systems, as well as their commitment to making those 2020 commitments the highest priority for those programs. The Bureau's modernization effort entails a design, building, delivery, and implementation system of some 52 different systems. Anytime that you have that many moving parts, it can be troubling. Each of these systems should be field tested in their final form before being rolled out in the 2020 census. Today, obviously, we'll hear from the GAO that with 8 months left before the final testing, half of those 50 systems to be tested in 2018 will either be delivered after the start of the testing, or worse yet, their delivery date is still unknown. The fact that there is even a suggestion that IT products will go untested is unacceptable. And no system or product, not a single one, can be allowed to be used to collect and process the American public's sensitive personal information without first being tested. Despite the need to test more than 50 systems, the Bureau's recently announced the cancellation of the 2017 field testing operations. And so I look forward to hearing on how we can maybe combine some of those as we start to address some of the issues, whether it be testing in a different mode or how we make sure that there is that integrity. The Bureau has claimed that budgetary constraints are preventing them from this testing. However, when I start to look at some of the numbers, I guess my concern is that it seems like the Bureau has opted on its own to kind of reduce the 2020 budget by more than 120 million, which would have an impact now. And so I would like to get some greater clarity on why that decision was made and what we need to do there. No other program in the Bureau's portfolio is being cut anywhere near that amount. And so I guess to give you an example, the American Community Survey, which is probably the single thing we get the most complaints about as it relates to the census because of the nature of the questions, that program is only being reduced by a mere $3 million. So I want to see where our priorities are as we start to look at it, Director. And the 2020 program should be the highest priority program and should not be shouldering roughly 75% of any anticipated budget reductions. I'd like to thank all of the witnesses for being here today. I believe that we will be able to make some real progress. And with that, I'll recognize the ranking member, my good friend, Jerry Conley, and congratulations on your reelection. You did that in spite of the fact that I endorsed you.